let's agree on a debate proposition. So first of all, I want to make clear that this debate is not gonna be about health, because I'm not a nutritionist or anything. So I wanted to have a focus on ethics. So is that okay with you?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about health as well, but at the end of the day, I'm just gonna refer to the source of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that I sent you. So the debate proposition can be something like veganism is morally superior. We can debate about that. Is that fine?
Okay.
Sure. So let's go. Let's go through the comment that you sent me. So you said that the human body can digest raw meat without issues, but the rabbit cannot without getting atherosclerosis. Okay. So
Yeah.
what were you trying to say when you sent me that comment?
Well, that goes into health, not ethics. But basically, the cause of that in rabbit is because it's eating something that's not meant to eat. And if we weren't meant to eat meat, it would do the same to us, but it doesn't.
Okay, so your claim is that because we can digest meat, therefore we need to eat meat?
I'm saying that, yeah, basically it suits our biology. Some people can digest, well, most people can digest raw meat without any problems. And in fact, it doesn't, there's no negative effects at all. It's perfectly healthy. And there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about that. Like, that's an empirical claim, which you'd have to show me some evidence about that. But let's just, for the sake of argument, let's grant that we can digest meat. I don't know how it
Okay.
follows from being able to digest meat that we need meat. So, for example, like biologically, you could say we're omnivores, which I agree with you. We can digest both foods from plant origin and animal origin, but it doesn't follow from that we need both to survive. Like, for example, if we find all the nutrients that we need, all the macronutrients from plants, why the hell do we need to consume animals if we can find all the nutrients we need from plants?
We can't get the nutrients we need. We can't get vitamin B12
Where does vitamin B12 come from?
from animals.
Is vitamin B12 from animal origin?
Yeah, produced by animals.
It isn't. So, like, vitamin B12 is actually from bacterial origins, not from animal origin. Like,
Yeah,
what
but
happens is
that
that,
bacteria is inside the animal.
sure, and also like the animals need to get certain amounts of B12. Again, I'm not a nutritional expert. From what I know, the animals that they eat directly from the ground, so they get the B12 producing bacteria. They live in the soil. So animals that are eating from the soil, like for example, like cows, they get their B12 requirements. They get it from eating soil, eating grass from directly from the soil.
Yeah.
So we humans, I can agree with you that we used to to meet our B12 requirements, we needed to probably our ancestors. I'm convinced that our ancestors needed to either eat animals or insects to meet their B12 requirements.
Mm.
But my argument would be that today we have the technology to manufacture B12 synthetically, which is exactly the same. It is cobalamin, so we can manufacture that. It is exactly the same micronutrient. So what would be your argument for?
I mean, you'd have to like give me evidence that it was exactly the
Stabbing an
same.
animal if we can get B12 otherwise.
Yeah, but this is the thing. If it's just a weak attempt at making synthetic B12, it's not actually the same. Then you can't just give up on what your body might need to survive and be healthy. I mean, maybe it's not even that. Like maybe you can survive as such on veganism, but the point is that your body is meant to be at an optimal state. You know, we're predators. We've always hunted food. We've there's never been a period where we haven't hunted animals and eaten them. And if you look at every other animal in nature that hunts, it always eats raw meat and they go for the organs first. But we eat the muscle last and then we cook it. And we're more ill than ever. We have more disease than ever. So I don't know why. I don't know why we need to start eating leaves just so that we don't.
Not leave. So I get that's a straw man there. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but we
Yeah,
vegans don't eat just leaves. You know
I
that.
mean, like spinach. I get annoyed at myself because I used to eat that stuff. That's basically what I say.
Yeah, dude. But we can get like I heard a couple of things there. So like first of all, you made some sort of descriptive statement that like our ancestors used to survive from hunting and stuff that from like that. Like it doesn't follow from that we should keep hunting. Like if we have all the alternatives present now, if we had the technology to produce B12, if we have plant-based alternatives, which by the way is not only leaves, but we can eat all sorts of foods that are high in protein, like grains and legumes. We can eat fruits, we can eat vegetables, we can eat
So wait,
leafy greens, like you said.
are you
Yeah.
saying that like the
The
protein
all
element
the
you mean?
essential amino acids that we need to survive, we can get them from plants. And the animals that use, they get
But we
their
want to spend all
essential
that.
amino acids from eating plants.
Time eating. They flower.
Sure, like root vegetables, grains, legumes, fruit. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Well,
So what are you saying that you eat all of that raw?
no,
Like
of course not. I cook it as well.
right, but like, so why do you need to cook it?
Yeah, so I'm again, I'm not an expert in nutrition, but from what I heard, it maximizes all like the nutrition you can get out of it. So cooking the food can like make it easier to digest and more bioavailable and stuff like that.
But surely if it was what you're meant to eat, you wouldn't need to cook it, right? You wouldn't need to make it more bioavailable. It was
What do you mean meant to eat? What do you mean
well,
when you say
well,
that?
like every other example of life on Earth has a certain diet that they survive on, and the only examples of when animals die is when they starve or they get eaten, killed. Like they
Okay, and like some animal, yes, like other animals are doing what they need to do to survive out in the wild. We're not in the wild anymore. So why can't we
we
make
are.
more compassionate options?
Our biology is still in the wild. It hasn't changed.
Sure, what I mean is we have technology to develop to manufacture certain nutrients
Yeah, but
and we have widely available like supermarkets, stuff like that sell all the things we need. We don't need to be out hunting in the wild. Do you buy stuff
no, we can
from
farm
grocery
animals.
stores?
Yeah, but that's not the point, is it? It's like that's a straw man.
No, I'm actually just pointing out that you're just appealing to nature here. Like what doesn't
Well, yeah,
matter what we used to do out in nature. We have other options now. So what's wrong with taking making this more compassionate choices? What's wrong with that?
because you're asking other people to make that choice with you, and it's based on faith in scientists to have manufactured these things for you to eat that are alternatives to what you need. So, like, your
What do you
basic,
mean? What do you mean faith in scientists?
like you haven't made these supplements yourself, so you don't really know what they are, how they work. You just have faith that science has made them work.
Okay, what about the food you eat? Did you make it yourself, or did you kill the animal yourself?
Well, when I do buy meat, I try and buy it from local farms who butcher them themselves. Like, so it's
Okay, and all
and
these, is this natural? Is this natural to buy from local farms? And by the way, those people, they still uh, artificially select these animals and stuff, right? So there's nothing natural about that.
I mean, sorry, I just realized I don't have my headset plugged in all the way.
So
Why is it unnatural?
like people are selectively breeding some animals and keeping them in farms and killing them with technology and like how is that
Okay.
natural? Like you're not eating the, and then you're buying it with money, like
Yeah,
in a grocery store. How is all of that? You know, like the how our
no,
ancestors used to do it.
I get you. No, that's too far. Like there are limits, right? Like I think that I think that a lot of people should kill their own animals if they eat meat.
That people
Like
should kill other animals if they eat meat. What do you mean?
like if you eat meat yourself, then you should be willing to kill the animal.
Have you killed the animal yourself?
Um, no, but I've been well basically yeah, I've helped kill chickens.
Okay, and you would be willing to do it if you needed to, or if you were in the position to do it.
Well, let's say the supermarket's closed. Well, I do it. Yeah, go and find some chickens if I could.
Do you make a moral distinction between animals? Like, for example, this logic applied to dogs and cats. Would you kill them to eat as well?
They're domesticated cats to some degree, but mostly dogs are domesticated. So that's different.
Yeah, farm animals are domesticated animals as well. Like
Well,
the
they can be, but you don't really live with them, right? They're there for food. That's the reason for them. Whereas dogs and cats aren't. They're there to catch
so
food.
it is. Would you say it is okay to kill them because they are not companion animals? That's your argument.
Uh, well, I'd say it's not okay to kill dogs and cats because they're companion animals, but it's okay to kill other
Yeah,
animals.
but is there a moral significant difference between the two? Like they are both beings that want to live and don't need to die. So
Well,
why do you make that distinction there just because they live with us?
because well, I'm a being that wants to live, so I need to eat meat to live, and I use captains to help me do that. Like that's the reason the dog is even alive, because we domesticated the wolf and we use the dogs to hunt. That's the reason dogs exist.
Okay, and why do you need meat again? Like you said B12, but I pointed out that we can get B12 as a supplement. So what exactly is the nutrients that we need from meat?
Well, we can say B12 because it's a really essential one that's very limited. Like you can only get it from limited things, and if you're saying that you can get that from a supplement, you'd have to prove to me that it's exactly the same as a natural version. And I don't think that.
It is exactly the same chemical. It is cobalamin, so they can manufacture exact cobalamin. Like most people take supplement the cyanocobalamin version, which is easily absorbed, but they actually can manufacture cobalamin, which is the same exactly the same nutrient. It doesn't really matter the source if it comes from directly from the bacteria from the soil or it comes from the gut of the animals. It's the exact same chemical. So
But
if
is it,
we can
does
yeah,
it have the same effect on the body?
well, can you repeat that?
Does it have the exact same effect on the body?
Yeah, like from what I know, I'm not a nutritionist, but let's like for example, you said you read the declaration that I sent you, the statement.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's a peer-reviewed statement. They said that plant-based diets are nutritionally adequate throughout all stages of the life cycle. So as long as you eat a well-balanced diet, and as long as you're supplementing with B12. So yeah, the nutritionists are saying that. So what seems to be the problem to you for you for
I
you
understand.
know
I understand the argument that if we don't need to because there's alternatives, then why are we needlessly slaughtering animals? But I just don't. I don't buy that. Unless I think there are people out there that will suffer greatly not eating animals and animal products.
okay, so you said that you understand the argument.
I
If
understand the
we
moral argument, yeah, but
okay, do you agree with it though? So for if we can thrive and we can survive and be healthy without eating animals, like let's just let's just accept this for the sake of argument. Would you say that it would be morally wrong to harm animals then, if we had other options?
I just said it would be unnecessary. But yeah, I guess.
If it is unnecessary, it would be wrong. Would be your view.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then uh, your only concern here is the health thing. So you're convinced morally then.
Well, you see, no, because if the health thing is true, then the
If
morals
right.
the morals change, right?
Well, not necessarily. Like for example, I don't think human beings have infinite value. So for example, if even if the diet wasn't optimal, the vegan diet, I would still think it is a moral obligation for us to be
Okay,
vegans. Yeah,
I see. Then,
like
then you've got to think about the fact that you're going to be sacrificing your health and whatever, and you and a lot of other people are going to be doing that. But there's still going to be other people that aren't going to give up meat. So
yeah, but it is strong wording there to say sacrificing your health because like and again, it's for the sake of argument because I do believe that vegan diets can be nutritionally adequate and even healthy, and supposedly they promote health benefits. But like if for accepting for the sake of argument that it is nutritionally inferior, I wouldn't see that as a huge sacrifice. Just not eating an optimal diet.
okay, I mean,
Like
let's
most
put it.
people don't eat optimally either. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, but that there's a difference between someone who completely destroys their body and then someone who's just trying not to harm animals, or the environment, whatever. But
Okay, so let me ask you something. Like, let's say, just hypothetically, that you were to find out that you needed to kill and eat humans to live optimally. Whatever you mean by optimally, let's say that you actually needed to holocaust humans and eat them, like the same way we do with animals, but it was humans in this case. Would you say it would be morally acceptable to eat humans if it meant having a optimal diet or whatever?
if I was living in my ideal world, I guess, and it was worth me to survive, then I'd probably do anything I could to do that.
Wait, what did you that wasn't my argument though. It wasn't if you needed that wasn't my question. Sorry, if you needed to survive. I'm just saying if you needed to have optimal health. Whatever your definition for optimal health is that you could survive, but you would just be optimally healthy if you eat. ate those humans?
I mean, it depends. Are they people in my community, or are they different people?
Is there really a significant moral distinction for you there? Like, what does it
Yeah.
matter?
Well, I mean, the people that have been living around, my ancestors have lived around, are all from the same. They're basically all the same people, different generations. But they're basically
What do
like,
you say? What do you mean by the same community and the same people? What do you mean by that?
well, like I'm I'm not just me. I'm everyone who came before me, right?
Sure. So you're saying that if they're human, that's your question. If they are human.
No, I'm saying that I wouldn't eat my cousins, but if I'd eat another tribe, if I had to survive, if that was the only
No, no,
food.
no. Again. You changed the question again. So the question wasn't if you needed to survive.
Oh, sorry,
You
sorry.
could survive. Yeah, you could survive, and you could even be healthy. But if you wanted to be optimally healthy, then you needed to Holocaust humans. So would you?
Holocaust humans. Um, I probably wouldn't need to Holocaust humans, but
Like whatever like where you want, like you can hunt them down or whatever, and let's just say like you have a problem with them being from your same community and being your cousins. Let's say they're from a different community. They're you know uh, they have exactly the same traits as you, so they are homo sapiens. They have human DNA, but the only difference is they're not from your community. And let's say there's an animal agriculture business like that's farming humans for meat, and in this hypothetical, eating those humans would give you optimal health. Would you participate in that holocaust?
I don't know. It's a pretty wild hypothetical, because it's not ever going to come to that, is it?
Oh, but do you know why I'm asking you these questions, right? It's just to come to understand what
Yeah,
your
yeah,
values are. That's the
yeah.
importance of
You're testing my
hypotheticals and
moral.
philosophy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
want to know
but
what things you value.
this is it. I mean, you have to balance your reason for surviving, your purpose in life, with what you need to do to do that. And if you think that your purpose in life is to cause the least amount of suffering to animals as possible, maybe you're missing out on something. Maybe you're not quite,
N- No, that's not actually my position. There is to minimize suffering as much as possible. That's not. Do you know the definition of veganism?
I mean, no, you could tell me.
Okay, so veganism is a way or philosophy of life which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practicable, all forms of animal cruelty and exploitation. So it's
Well,
not about just minimizing completely suffer. It's just as far as possible and practical, whatever that means
so so
to the person.
but you need to be more specific, because is killing one animal and eating it, is that cruelty?
Yeah, under my view, if you had other options available to you and you just found the dog and you slit the throat of the dog and ate it, I would see that as a rights violation. You're violating that dog's right to life, and I see it as cruelty, as abuse. Yes, to eat it
So
like
are you gonna
needlessly like that.
are you gonna take that dog to court and give it a lawyer?
Yeah, so this is Shaman. Like vegans don't believe that animals should have the same rights as humans. They just believe that they should have basic rights. So like again, we're just avoiding the question now. So
Well, I'm not.
what would be the answer to your question, to the question?
Oh, wait, ask the question again. Sorry.
Yeah. So if if you wanted to have optimal, okay, hypothetically, if farming, okay, if we were in a world that we were farming humans for food, and they, you needed to
I
for
think I'd rather
optimal health.
not live in that world. You know,
You'd rather not live in the world, yeah. Like I rather not live in a world that we holocaust animals either. But
I would rather not live in a world where we kill animals, where we breed animals just to kill them on mass, like we do. I don't think that's.
that's
Uh,
what we're doing right now,
I know.
breeding animals,
I think
mass
that's
breeding
wrong.
animals.
I think it can be done a much better way. It's
Okay,
it's
so why are you like let's first get the question out of the way. So is your question yes or no? Then we can get to why you don't want to live in such a world. But let's just get a straight answer from the question: would you holocaust humans if it meant optimal health for you?
if I had children to protect, and I was invested, yeah, I'd say I would.
No, no, not if
But
you had children to protect. Just
if it was the
like
norm, you know, if that was what you did to survive, I guess.
not to survive.
Well,
Again, you keep saying you keep changing the question.
well, this is just like it's just a really like exaggerated. We're not really going anywhere.
I'm still not appreciating an answer.
But it's going to change much. My answer's not really going to change much, is it?
What is your answer?
I don't know. I'm not in the situation. I can't. I couldn't put myself in that situation. I
Uh,
wouldn't want to eat people because that's immoral.
okay, it is immoral to eat people. Okay,
Yeah,
so then what's the difference between us and other animals that justifies the difference in treatment?
we are moral. Animals
What?
are animals are amoral. We are moral. We
We
have
have
morality.
moral agency.
No, animals have no morality.
I mean, animals do have moral agency to some extent. Like, for example, like animals do have a certain level of moral agency, not to the same extent as we do.
Yeah, but
So you're
they
saying that
don't.
that's the difference that justifies the difference in treatment, just that we have moral agency and they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we were to find a group of humans that didn't have moral agency, would it be okay to holocaust them in this case to eat and to have optimal health?
Well, they can't be humans, can they? If they don't have morals.
I mean, you do know that some humans don't have agency, right? To the same extent as we do. Like for example, some humans are lacking in empathy completely. For
Yeah.
example, what would be your definition for moral agency or for morality? Like, what do you mean when you say that?
I mean, it's half survival, biological necessary, like biological necessity for survival. It's kind of we keep each other alive so that we stay alive, and it's also like bonding,
Okay,
I guess.
so let me ask you something about that. If you say it's biological, like when in our evolutionary development, when did moral agency arise? Like because if you're saying it's
And then,
biological, then animals can have it to some extent as well, right? If it's biological in origin.
I don't know. It doesn't seem that they do.
Like for example, like animals establish themselves in hierarchies. They do have certain amount of moral agency. Like if one of them was violating the implicit rules of the community, the animal community or whatever, like they have their own ways of shunning them and stuff like that, and they don't just kill each other senselessly. They do follow some sort of morality animal, like not to the same extent as we do, but for example to the same extent as mentally challenged humans would. Like a mentally challenged person wouldn't have the same degree of moral agency as you and me that can have this source of conversation, but they do have their own level of moral agency. Would you disagree with that?
Up until the point that they need to survive.
Okay, yeah, and animals need to survive too, so they probably do have moral agency, right?
I don't know whether I'd say it was moral agency. I'd just say it was a biological necessity. Because for humans, it's something extra. We have the ability to be compassionate, as you say, and be compassionate for things that aren't human too.
Then if it's something extra, how would you define that something extra? Just empathy?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, but you do agree that some humans are lacking in empathy?
So, but I mean, that doesn't take away from the argument.
No, it does, because if you're saying that the morally significant difference between us and animals is that we have moral agency, then you're saying it's okay to holocaust humans that are lacking in moral agency, right? It would logically follow from that.
It wouldn't necessarily logically follow from that. No, you could
Okay, why
still.
not? Then that's not the only thing that you value. Then that's not the only trait that you're actually valuing here.
Why not?
What? Why did you? When I asked you what's the difference between us and animals that justifies the different in treatment, why did you say morality if you would still say it's wrong to kill humans that are lacking in morality?
Because it is still morality that separates us from animals, whether or not there are humans that don't have empathy existing or not, doesn't change anything. Just because
Okay,
somebody,
how does that separate us from animals if there are some humans that don't have like for example mentally challenged and psychopaths like people like how does it
because
separate it from animals?
because only humans have empathy.
Only humans have empathy.
Yeah.
Okay, and what does that matter that only humans have empathy?
So our ability to feel compassion for the way that we do is a human trait. It's not an animal trait.
Don't you think animals have an ability to feel empathy as well?
Um,
Don't you think it helps them survive and establish
I
their own
wouldn't.
communities?
I wouldn't say it was empathy. I would say it was survival, biological necessity. I'd say it
Yeah,
was.
but you said it was that was the same for us, that it is biological, that empathy arises from biological necessity, right?
Partially in humans.
What was that?
Partially, but there's something extra in humans which we have, which is empathy.
Yeah, but the something extra like is still biological, right? Or would you say is
Well,
cultural or what?
it's human, so you know.
Okay, it's human.
So like,
I'm still not appreciating here. Like I still see an inconsistency here in your moral view. Like
well, when I
eh,
when I when I eat when I eat meat, right? I don't want to eat meat. It's not ideal in my ethical sense. Like, it's not what I'd prefer to do if I had the choice. But and I pay my respects to the animal. You know, I don't waste any, and I pay my respects to the people that farm the animals as well in a natural, healthy way. But I do it because I've tried all the diets, and I found a diet that makes me feel healthier than ever. You know, I've never felt more alive and had more energy, and it's like fixed all my problems. So if that works, if that's what nature intended me to do, then me saying that like I'm too much of a good person to do that is kind of stupid.
yeah, I just hear anecdote there. I heard vegans say the same thing that they feel better than ever since going vegan, plant based, and stuff like that. But let's just get back to the question. Like unless you concede that you there's no difference, that morally significant difference between us and animals.
There is a difference between us and animals.
Yeah, and you said it's morality, but when I pointed out that some humans don't have morality, you said that it's still wrong. So why
Yeah,
is it wrong if the is the thing the very thing that you said makes it wrong is that we have morality. So I don't understand.
Because only humans have morality, and the humans that have morality are
So,
the.
so
Do you get what I mean? Like,
I don't quite know what you mean. I'm confused as to why would you say moral agency if like it really sounds that you're saying humanity though. It sounds like you're saying it's wrong to kill humans. It doesn't really matter if they have moral agency or not.
yeah,
Okay, it's wrong to kill humans then. So that would be your trait. It wouldn't be moral agency per se. It would be
I mean,
humanity.
well, you can make the argument whether or not it's okay to kill people without empathy. You know, if they're likely not to work in the society, but it doesn't really matter. You like bringing that in doesn't really matter because humans have empathy. Humans are moral. So
Yeah, so you said you could make that argument, but what do you actually believe? Because I'm interested in your what are your actual ethics. So you said you could make the argument that killing people that don't have moral agency is okay. uh like let's just define moral agency as the ability to understand social contracts, the ability to feel empathy. Okay, let's just say somebody that can't comprehend all that. Would you say that it's okay or not okay to kill any of those people?
if those people are not affecting the rest of the world, then it doesn't really matter. But if they're, if they're criminal or whatever,
Okay, if they're not affecting the rest of the world. uh okay, yeah, let's say that they are law abiding and all that stuff. They just didn't have moral agency. They just followed the rules because the for selfishness, let's say. They don't want to get in jail and stuff. Like, what do you think? It's okay to kill those people or not?
there would need to be a reason for it.
Yeah, and that would be my argument. We need to have a reason to kill animals, and I don't see that there's any moral grounds to just arbitrarily like holocaust animals if we had other options. So like then this moral agency doesn't really matter to you. I don't know why you brought it up. So you would say then that the morally significant difference is just Homo sapiens, that we're humans, and you think from your own personal view it's wrong to kill humans, and that is that it?
Yeah, because if you go to kill a human, you hope that they have empathy, so you wouldn't want to do that.
You hope that they had empathy, but if you knew that they didn't have empathy, would the moral landscape change, or would you still think it's wrong?
If they did something to prove that they have no empathy, I guess it would change. Like, but anyway, you're saying that you don't need to eat animals because there's alternatives.
What did you say? What did you say?
Like, you think there's alternatives to animal food completely, right?
Yeah, I do, and I've been a vegan for like almost 5 years now, and from all I know, it's healthy, man. I really don't see the problem.
Well, that's fine. That's great for you, right?
Okay, and what's up with you? Like, are you like anti-vegan or something? Are you like
No, no, well,
no?
I'm anti rule making about meat eating.
Okay, you're anti-rule making. So would you say you're anti-rule making in general? Like, do you think rules are like
Just
important? Like, let's say like we have this rule against killing people. Like, is that a good rule to have?
Yeah, but my point was like, I don't want to rule out people's option to eat meat because I don't have enough evidence. Because I don't have any evidence that you can survive without it. Unless you want
Would
to
you?
go, unless you want to go into genes and how some people can survive better on plants because they've got different genes. But there are people who definitely need meat to survive on Earth.
Okay, so we do have enough evidence that, like, do you think that's just a lie, like the declaration of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics? Do you think all those scientists are just lying about vegan plant-based diets being nutritionally adequate?
I don't know if they're telling the truth, so I don't know.
Okay, so what are you? What's your diet?
Uh, Mostly animal products.
Okay, so you're like a carnivore diet guy.
If you want to call it that, yeah. I mean, I like
How long have you been this way?
um, about 3 years ago, I was having problems like sleeping. I was sleeping for ages and couldn't hold down a job and I just had no energy. I just felt like I was falling apart, and I decided to not give veganism a try, but I decided to look into different things to do with diet, and I started eating raw vegetables every day, like
And
celery.
and what were you eating before? Like when you were feeling tired and stuff?
Like I don't know, like not too bad, just like meat and two vegetables, like mostly chicken and rice
Like
and
just a regular omnivorous diet or something?
yeah. And then I decided to try like basically like raw onions, raw peppers, uh, celery, cucumber, aubergine, um, avocado, all that stuff. And I was eating that for like 2 weeks every
Okay,
day.
all raw?
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I think that if that's your only experience with plant-based diet, I think that explains a lot, because that sucks, that diet. I haven't seen any evidence that
well,
raw vegan diets are healthy at all.
in between that, I would eat like cooked root vegetables as well, and like stew, casserole kind of thing. Uh, but I just felt kind of empty on that, and I kept trying different like
Were you
diets.
eating like enough protein? Like were you eating legumes and grains and stuff like that?
Yeah, I was eating like kidney beans. Uh,
And I'm assuming you weren't supplementing.
no,
Oh, yeah, I would see that as an absolutely necessary part of a vegan plant-based diet. Okay, so
so
like, what's your story? Then you felt sick after that week, and then you start experimenting with raw meat or something.
started eating cooked steaks every day, and
Okay, like some like a sort of your like a Jordan Peterson Michaela diet or something.
yeah. That's where I heard about it.
Okay. I mean,
So,
man, I really like Jordan Peterson, like as a psychologist, as a philosopher, but I think that was a really bad decision that he made, and his daughter. Like, I mean, I know that his daughter was having a lot of health issues, but I just think, that's a really bad way to fix her health issues. But like, whatever.
but I mean, that's the only way she could find, right?
Yeah, but like she doesn't, she admitted that she doesn't really care about science. She doesn't trust the scientific studies and stuff. And I heard that she just started experimenting on her own. It's just a personal anecdote that worked for her. Like, it's like I
Sure, but
think it would be a miracle if it worked long term. I heard that she was already incorporating some plant-based options into her diet. At least her dad. Like, I'm not sure about her, but like
I think
she was.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is exactly like my problem. This is the same thing that happened to me was what happened to her. So are you saying that what we can't eat meat? Is that what you say? Like as a vegan?
No, so my argument, my position would be that it like if we absolutely needed to survive or something, but I don't see that as the case
Oh,
because we do have other options.
but
Uh,
what happens when it comes to a time when there aren't those options? Do you think there'll always be those options?
I would say like if you like let's just as the ethics thing I'm sorry, like my English sucks. So you said that morally speaking you you agreed on the most part, but you just didn't believe it was healthy, or you don't think there's enough evidence or something.
Yeah, I think that there has always been meat-eating humans, and there always will be, because there's never been a group of people that have survived on plants alone.
Yeah, but I just see that as an appeal to history. It doesn't really matter. We now is the first time in history that we do have this widely available options and this technology. So
Yeah, it's
the
technology.
moral landscape would change here. I would accept. I would agree with you that our
What
ancestors
if I
needed
don't
to do
want to
what
take
they needed to do to
supplements?
survive.
What if I just don't want to take supplements?
Then I would say that you are being immoral there. Like if you had the alternative to not harm animals and you purposely harmed animals, even if you had the options not to do it, I would just say that you're being unethical, and it's up to you if you really care about that or not.
So I guess we'd have to really like work on the conclusion as to whether supplements work.
Yeah, I see no reason like the burden of proof would be because I do think they work for me, and from all I've seen they do work. So the burden of proof would be on you to establish what the difference is, because it's even the same chemical. It's just that the source is different. Like, but let's just if you were to find out, like for example, if you were to like hire a nutritionist, like a plant-based nutritionist, and they were to find out what exactly your problem was, like let's say you had some sort of gut problem that had an easy vegan cure to it and stuff, would you still think that eating animals is okay, or would that change the moral landscape for you? Would you say that then you had the obligation to go vegan if if you find out what your real problems are, and they don't have anything to do with eating animals?
And my issue is like humans have gone too far away from nature, and because of that, too many.
I see that as a good thing.
No, I don't. I think we need to be in balance, and there's too many of us because of that.
Why is nature a good thing?
Which is neither a good thing or a bad thing. It's just
Exactly.
you have to be in the middle, and you can't say for one, but
And
then
what's your argument for that? Like, why do we need to be like in the middle? Like, if we could all be healthy and all thrive as people and be psychologically healthy as well, like what does it really matter if we are away from nature? Like I see nature as bad in a lot of cases. Like for example, viruses are in nature, we
well,
are
this is
exposed to the elements and stuff like that. Like it isn't necessarily a good thing to be in
well,
nature. So
well, my point is that you can only be healthy if you're in tune with nature. That's the only way.
and what's your evidence for that?
That every other animal in nature is only healthy when they abide by nature.
Do the other animals have any other option?
No, and this is my point. Neither do we.
We do. Like we do have technology and other options now. So
I don't think,
why do we need to imitate wild animals if we had compassionate alternatives available to us?
because that's what we're doing. We're imitating nature. We're making our own food. It doesn't work.
I mean, I wouldn't say we're imitating nature. I mean, we're just doing
Trying
what we
to.
need. We're surviving. Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily imply what we need to act like other wild animals. Like wild animals do all sorts of things that we would consider unethical. Like wild animals kill each other, they like rape each other. Like carnivorous animals, they eat their animals like really like I don't know if you've seen like a lion devour like an antelope or something. It's horrible what goes on in nature. So why
Yeah,
do we need to imitate all that?
we don't have a choice.
We do have the choice. Like if we can survive without harming other sentient beings, that's a choice that we have. Like
Yeah,
what's wrong with taking that choice?
but you have to place faith in people that you've never met for that to be true, right? You have to place faith
uh,
in scientists and
place
researchers.
faith place faith in other people in science. I mean, like I can read the studies for myself. I don't need to place faith in the scientists themselves. Like what do you mean? I'm placing faith on statistics or something?
Yeah, but you can make a biological claim for anything. You can write a statement about anything and make anything true with enough evidence. It doesn't mean it's right. You
Like
can
does evidence matter to you?
it does, but it's not at face value. It doesn't mean anything without comparison, without context.
Okay, at face value. Okay, so what would be your, I guess, your epistemological criteria for something to for you to accept something?
It has to apply to the real world, and most studies don't. Most studies just they're outside of the natural world.
What do you mean by that? Like they lose sight of they are studying the natural world, like right, like the
But it
things
depends.
like
You'd have
randomized control trials and stuff. Like they are looking at how certain independent variables affect the subjects and stuff. That's all happening. Like I don't know what your definition of nature is in here. They're studying human beings. They're studying nature in that sense.
yeah, but it's it's like you'd have to give me a specific study, I guess, if we're gonna go down this route.
Yeah, but what is your like criteria? Because I don't think any study that I show you would matter to you because you said that at the end of the day we're just placing faith on the authorities or something. So what would be your like what would need to be true for you to actually believe that plant-based diets are healthy?
I just need to believe that it would give me everything my body needed biologically, and I would never get that proof.
You exactly. So it doesn't really matter what evidence I show you. Like at the end of the day, you only care about your personal experience. How do you feel with those foods, right?
Yeah, because I'm the only thing that I can experiment on.
Okay, so like you don't know then, like if plant-based diets are nutritionally adequate for you because you haven't really given it a chance, right?
I don't,
Okay, so let's say that you gave it a chance. Let's say you tried the challenge 22 thing where you went vegan for 22 days, and let's say you actually took you took the supplements like you're supposed to, like a cyanocobalamin pill every day in the morning, or maybe a sublingual thing like some people take, like like some mouth drops or whatever. Like let's say you're doing it correctly and you're eating a balanced diet. You're eating grains. You're eating legumes. You're cooking. You're eating fruits and vegetables. A high healthy amount of leafy greens and stuff. And let's say you felt spectacular. Would that be proof enough for you?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that would be pretty.
Okay, and you don't know if that would be the case because you haven't tried it, right?
It depends what you mean by spectacular.
Okay, let's just say you felt exactly the same as you do now. Do you feel good now on your current diet?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I don't see any reason to believe that a plant-based diet would be
Any different, really?
any different for you. Like it might even be healthier because I do believe that
How do you?
plant-based diet have certain benefits. Like for example, the declaration that I sent you talked about like possibility of preventing things like atherosclerosis, which you sent me, certain types of cancers and diabetes, and even Alzheimer's in some cases. Like there's some evidence suggesting that it might even work against stuff like Alzheimer's. Like, what was your question?
Well, you said that you didn't think there was a difference between that diet and
Okay.
so how I just like in my sense in my way of looking at the world, eating raw animals and animal products and then eating what you just said, like supplements and legumes and all this stuff. There's no way that those two could have the same effect on the body. They're two completely different things.
Let's say that if you broke them down, you were getting all the essential nutrients that you needed from both. I don't know if you're actually getting all the essential nutrients that you need from raw meat diet. Like I really doubt it. But let's say that you were getting all the essential amino acids, all the essential macronutrients and micronutrients. Let's just say that you were getting all those from both diets. Then you would see it as the same.
But that's never going to be the case because then they're not the same at all. They're completely different.
Okay, what nutrients am I missing then?
Taurine,
What?
taurine.
What? How do you spell that? Can you send that in the general chat? Okay, let's say I actually take a creatine supplement, by the way, because I'm an athlete as well. So let me look up like plant-based sources for taurine. Let's look that up.
There are no plant-based sources for taurine. This is my point. You
Let's
can't
see.
you can't get plant-based taurine. Doesn't make sense. Why do plants need taurine?
Okay, I can ask the same thing to you. Why do we need taurine? Is there any evidence that we need taurine?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing it here. Taurine is is only found in animal sources. Okay, so what's your evidence that we need taurine?
Hormones.
What?
Hormones. Testosterone.
Okay, so vegans don't have testosterone or something. Is that your claim? Do you have any actual evidence for that, or is that you're just assuming that?
I mean, it's obvious.
I mean, like, man, like I don't know if you actually want to
It's
turn
not
this
just vegans.
into an empirical like discussion here because I'm not a nutritionist. I'm guessing you're not either, right?
No, I don't have any
So let's
qualifications.
just what's your okay? You don't have a background in nutrition and science or something?
No, I don't.
Okay, so like let's just leave this to the experts. Like I don't know. Like I am agnostic as to whether we need taurine or not. I haven't seen any evidence that we need taurine to survive or thrive or be healthy. Creatine, you can just take creatine monohydrate supplement or something. I do think that you can get creatine from plant-based sources, though, right?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Like surely you just get one thing from animals and another thing from plants, and you get everything you need from plants from the animals that eat them. Right? That's how it works.
Okay, yeah. So it says that creatine, like taurine, is only found in animal-based foods, but there's not, like, you have to, the burden of proof is on you that we actually need it
Well, I mean,
to survive and be healthy.
you're taking it though, so is your creatine supplement, is that animal based?
No, like the creatine monohydrate supplement is vegan. Like it does say in the bottle that it's vegan. I only take it for fitness purposes. Like supposedly it helps with building muscle. Like I don't really need it. I take it because I want to, because I'm an athlete, but I don't need it. And the one that I'm taking, it is vegan. So I'm supposing it is a synthetic in origin then.
Yeah, so what makes you trust that it works?
In that case, like, I've just heard people online, like bodybuilders, talking about it. I trust those bodybuilding authorities, and it does work for me personally. I've seen changes, so it does work for me. That doesn't really matter. So like the thing is that I haven't seen any evidence that we do need those things to survive. And like, did you answer the question? I'm not sure if you actually answered the question that I asked you.
I can't remember.
Yeah, so if you were to find out that plant-based diet was nutritionally adequate for you by your own standards, like by your own criteria, like you tried it and it worked for you, because we established that's the only source of evidence that you trust is your own personal experience. So it doesn't really matter what studies I throw at you and what declarations by what organizations and whatnot. So let's just say, like, for the sake of argument, you tried it 22 days. Let's say like even a whole month, it does work for you. Like, would you say that is morally superior then, if you feel the same?
Yeah, I would, I guess. I mean, yeah, I suppose. So,
So you would agree that it would be morally superior?
kind of. You'd still be killing animals if you were on that diet.
You would still be killing animals if you're in that diet? What do you mean? Like like the
Like,
the crop deaths or something?
yeah, you have to kill animals to farm anything.
And my argument isn't that we need to eliminate animal deaths completely, because then the only way for me to even abide by that ethics would be to kill myself. So that's not
Right, right.
the vegan ideology at all.
Okay, well, so why can't I just kill one cow every year? What's the problem?
Did you ask me something? I missed it.
Yeah, sorry. What's the problem with me killing just one cow every year? If
Do you
if that
kill just one cow every year? Well, the obvious problem is that you're committing a rights violation there. Like I do hold some, like, I do have some deontic values that I hold, and killing animals needlessly is an obvious right violation there for me. In the same way that it would be wrong to just kill one human per year if you could just eat plants.
that, that a cow isn't a human.
Okay, but do you see it? Do you see, if you were killing just one human to survive, would you see that as ethically superior or inferior to a vegan diet?
I don't know. I just think one cow a year is fine, really. It'll feed a lot
One
of
cow,
people.
so one murder a year is fine.
No, it's just the point is just that you don't need to kill tons and tons of animals, but to kill enough for people to survive is okay. As long as
Like
you,
if you really care about animal deaths and suffering, then you should go vegan because vegans are the ones causing less overall harm. Do
because
you agree with that, right?
if you stop eating animals, all the animals that you eat will just die. So you'll be killing a lot of animals that way.
No, we would just stop breeding them. There's a difference there. Like in the same way, like for example, if we were breeding a group of humans to Holocaust, like what would be the best thing that we could do? It's just stop breeding the humans in the first place. I don't see that as any rights violations to just stop bringing beings into existence. I see it as the correct thing to do because it's wrong to exploit beings like that.
Like, I understand, but you are alive right now, so and so am I. So I'm kind of committed to this, you know.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Me and you are both alive right now, so we're both committed to whatever this is. You know what I mean? So we don't
We're
need,
committed to whatever this is. What do you mean? We committed to life or something?
yeah, like we're not killing ourselves. So if we're here, we might as well
Yeah, like
live.
we're here, we might as well, live in the way that is more compassionate, man, and like causes the less amount of suffering that we can, right? Why would we commit unnecessary suffering? Do you agree with me that unnecessary suffering is wrong and unnecessary uh
Of course,
murder and stuff?
of course.
Okay, then at least you have the same values as a vegan then you only have a difference in the way you're acting.
I guess so. But my problem, if I was going to compare myself to a vegan, I would say that my issue would be anything to do with animals. It would to do with humans.
What do you say that your issue is with killing humans, not animals?
No, my issue would be with humans, not with animals. If I was going to compare myself to a vegan, but
Okay, you,
we're the problem.
what do you mean by that we're the problem?
Like we cause our own problems. We we could live in harmony with nature.
Sure, and we can make more compassionate choices, and going vegan would be one of them in my view.
Yeah, I mean, but you
Like
can't.
we're already here, we're in civilized society. I hold the view, like I think we also disagree in here, like we have a fundamental difference in values there. Like I think civilization and technology and science, I think is a good thing. Like from what I hear, like I correct me if I'm wrong, but you're some sort of like you want us to live like our ancestors or something again.
I think it could be a good thing, but
To live like our ancestors, just trying to survive in nature, bearing the elements,
no,
uh,
I think that the way that we live now could be a good thing, but the way that it is right now isn't good for anyone.
yeah, like okay. So you agree with me that civilization could be better than whatever the hell our ancestors were doing.
Yeah, but obviously we don't have access to the technology to live without killing animals. Me and you know. So what are we gonna do?
Sure, we can make the more compassionate option that is available to us, which is going vegan.
Yeah, but that's not that's that's not under our control. It's we're relying on someone else, a company outside of
Well,
ourselves.
we do have like we do have the freedom to make those individual choices, and the only reason those companies exist in the first place because consumers like you are willing to finance those industries. They give your money to those industries so they keep existing and keep breeding animals to murder. So like we can just if we as a collective just stopped consuming those products, then this just basic supply and demand that they will stop existing in the first place.
It's not true, because farmers will always grow their own animals to eat, even if they're not selling it.
To eat them themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if there's not a financial incentive for them to breed a certain amount of animals, they won't, right? They would do it just for themselves.
Yeah, but they'll still be doing it.
Yeah, in that case, like if the world went like progressed into that scenario where like most people are already vegan, but some people are keeping their own animals as slaves and to kill them and eat them. Like I would say that the only way there would be to like put some sort of legislation against holocausting animals, like killing them and stuff. But right now we can make some individual choices to make the world better, like just by going vegan.
I just don't buy it, man. Like, I think you're gonna have a lot of problems.
So what other problems do you have? Do you already agree with me? Like you did concede that to the point that it would be morally superior, right?
I know I said it would be more ideal.
And what do you take morally superior to be? More ideal, right?
I guess so, but it's
Okay, so if it would be morally superior, like for example, if you found out by your own epistemic standards, like criteria, you found out that veganism was good for you, like a plant-based diet, you tried it, you felt good, you weren't sleepy, you were energetic, you were good at sex, you were like all those things that you need for health, you were psychologically okay as well. Okay, what would be your argument against being vegan then in that case, if did pass your epistemic criteria, you felt healthy, what would be your argument against it if it does reduce overall animal suffering and rights violations?
I still wouldn't have enough evidence to say that it was right, because there's one
But
thing.
when I asked you first, what evidence would you need? What would be your epistemic criteria? You said that was personal experience. So if you got that personal experience, what else do you need then? Like I thought that was your answer of what evidence, what kind of evidence did you need?
Well, it's not just mine, right? It's the other people that I live with as well. It's their
What
experience.
do you mean? What do you mean the other people that you lived, your family, or like the whole society or something? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the whole society. Everybody has to be, to a degree, healthy.
Wait, like you would only concede that veganism is healthy if literally everybody tried it and was healthy?
Uh,
That would be your only the only evidence that you would accept, that everybody went vegan and everybody thrived?
no, if humans had always been majoritively vegan and we'd always taken supplements,
Okay, dude,
yeah,
then you're changing the your epistemic criteria completely. You first said that the only thing that you needed was personal experience, just the way you felt. Now you're saying that you actually need history to change for you to think veganism is healthy.
no, no, I said that my own personal experience determines what is best for health.
Okay, your own personal experience. Okay, so like you said something about your ancestors that were predominantly or omnivores. What does that matter then? Like if we potentially if we could be healthy on a plant-based diet, what does it matter what our ancestors used to do? I don't know what you brought that up.
That's the whole point. The fact that our ancestors, they were aware that they couldn't survive on those foods. That's why they didn't eat them. It's food.
Our ancestors were just trying to survive, man. They did what they have to do to survive out in nature. They hunted. They do whatever the hell they needed to do. They also collected stuff. Then they started the whole agriculture business and stuff. Like they throughout all history we've just been trying to survive. It's only now that we have the technology to manufacture things like B12, and we now have grocery stores available to everybody with very economically very cheap plant-based alternatives. We have grains, legumes, rice, pasta. All that stuff is very cheap. We have that available to everybody. This is the first point in history where all that has been the case. So
we have more disease than ever.
What do you mean by that? We have more disease than ever.
We have more illnesses. We have more disease than ever.
Give me one example of one illness that we have that our ancestors didn't have to go. What?
Cancer.
Okay, yeah, and those all are how they call them illnesses of affluence or something, like only like very developed civilizations have those sorts, like things like obesity, diabetes. Like instead of us dying from hunger and just trying to survive, we're getting the opposite. We're getting diseases from consuming too much and stuff like that, right?
Exactly. And all junk food is plant food.
Yeah, but that's just comes down to those people making bad choices. It isn't really the fault of civilization. Those people have the freedom to exercise and to eat more healthy, right?
Sure, but the point is, all of these bad foods come from manipulating plant foods. There's nothing toxic in meat. There's no.
What doesn't matter if they manipulate plants? Like, where's your evidence that manipulating plants is unhealthy?
Because we have lots of disease.
And it is from eating plants that we have those diseases?
Yeah, because we've never eaten more plants. And we've never been more ill.
Like, we need it. I can't say the same to you, dude. Like, we've never eaten more meat and we never been more ill. Like, that's just a slippery slope fallacy there. Like, I don't see the connection there. Like, we do have some diseases like from affluence. Like, it doesn't that doesn't necessarily mean that they come from the way we're farming plants, man. Like, where do you get that conclusion?
No, it's just excessive consumption of plants.
Sure, but what if you didn't consume plants excessively? Like, what would be your problem then?
That would be good, but like.
Sure, and people also consume meat excessively. I would say the same thing to you. And like, we're also manipulating those animals. Like, would you agree that we're artificially selecting those animals, and those animals are different than they used to be in nature? Like, for example, the chickens, the cows that we have now, they're domesticated animals, and they're really different from their ancestors.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. I'd agree with that.
Okay, so what would be the symmetry breaker there? What's wrong with eating plants if we're doing the same thing with animals? And I would say that some really horrible diseases are coming from animal agriculture as well. Not just the diseases that you get from personally consuming animal products, but the pandemics such as this, like, they wouldn't arise without animal agriculture.
Sure, but that's not a question of biology. That's a question of culture.
Okay, but I just still don't see the argument against veganism here. It's just making an argument against affluent civilization or something.
Yeah, but my point is that you can't argue for the change. You can't argue for people not to eat meat. Like,
Well, of course I can. Like, I do have the freedom of speech to argue against it, as you do to argue against whatever topics you're interested about.
If it makes them ill, then that is technically a threat of violence.
No, I don't believe it makes them ill. So that where do you get that
You,
from?
you don't know, right? Like you don't know that people, because you have to admit there are people that need meat to survive and live healthily.
I haven't seen any case like that. Like the
Or
all the from all the things that I know, and I'm being this is from good faith here. Like I've from all the evidence that I've seen, I've come to the conclusion that plant-based diets are nutritionally adequate. I haven't seen any evidence against it. I haven't seen any single case of somebody absolutely needing meat and going to the hospital because that person didn't have any animal products. I haven't seen that.
all you have to do is look at the tribes throughout the earth. The
What do you
Alaskans,
mean? What do you mean? Look at the tribes.
the people who aren't connected to Western civilization, or
What's up with them?
all of them eat meat.
And
Well, they wouldn't be able to live without it.
okay, and what's the definition of veganism again?
You're saying that you would advocate for them to stop eating meat.
What's the definition of veganism again?
So you just want to take away slaughterhouses, basically.
The definition of veganism again is it's a philosophy that seeks to exclude animal cruelty and exploitation as far as possible and practicable. If it's not possible or practicable for those people, then I do see a justification there. It isn't justified for us.
So it's not cruel then for them to do it.
Yeah, like I just see like my whole argument is if you're in the position to if you have the alternatives available to you, then it is wrong to eat animals.
Those people have them. We have to just go down there and offer them the alternatives, right?
What did you say?
Like we could go down to those people and just offer them the alternatives.
I don't think we necessarily have the moral obligation to help other people, but that's just a
Okay,
completely separate argument. Let's
it's
just
not.
stay
No,
on
that's a
this
good
level.
argument. That's a good argument because if you're not willing to go and make them change their ways, why do you have the ability to make anyone change?
I'm just making an argument of personal responsibility here. So if you are in the position to if you're in the position of choosing you know if you have other alternatives available to you, if you're in that position, which presumably you are, as I am, then we have the moral obligation to choose the compassionate option, which is plants instead of
That doesn't make sense because then I don't have a choice. You're saying I don't have a choice.
what?
You're saying that I don't have a choice
What do you mean it doesn't make sense? What doesn't make sense?
because you said that. You're saying that I don't have a choice, basically. That I have, if I have an alternative, I have to go with that alternative. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I think you have the moral obligation to go vegan.
Why? Why do you not have the same moral obligation for tribal people?
Because they don't have any other option, and I don't advocate for them killing themselves.
But they do have another option. We can give
What
them
is
one.
it? That's not their option, right? It's our option. I do think
Exactly.
I do think it's a moral virtue. I think it's a good thing if we did that. Like if the government decided to do that, or if we like if somebody had enough money to give stuff away, like I see it as a good thing. I don't see it as a moral obligation. But what is a moral obligation is to not stab people to death or animals to death for food if we have other options. Do you see? Do you know the difference between positive rights and negative rights?
Um, I think so.
Did,
I mean,
you said no?
I think I get it, but yeah, you can explain it.
Yeah, like for example, it is wrong to like a negative right would be for what's wrong for you to to do, right? Like for example, we have the right to life. So that's a negative, right? Because that just means that somebody it is wrong for that somebody to take that right from us. But a positive right would be like a right for, like something like healthcare and stuff like that. I see that as positive rights. It is a good thing to help people, but I don't see it as an obligation.
Okay.
I see as an obligation to not kill people. I see an obligation to not stab somebody to death, to not holocaust somebody, not to abuse somebody. Like I see all those things as a moral obligation, and I would include animals in here. That's why I asked you in the beginning what's the significant distinction morally between us and animals, and you said humanity.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually do agree with me that it would be morally superior if we had the alternative, right?
It would be easier.
What do you mean it would be easier?
We would be less dependent on external sources. We would become more self-reliant. So I guess in that way, yeah. But it's not the situation we're in.
It's not the situation we're in. What do you mean?
Well, there are people that need to eat animal products to live healthily.
Okay, let's just for the sake of argument, I don't know what you're talking about. Like I don't know what you mean that there's people. I haven't seen a single case study of somebody that died from not getting meat or something. Okay, if you can provide that evidence for me, I would accept it. Like, but let's just I don't believe that's true. But just assume it, right, for the sake of argument. Let's say some people need it. uh, what about the people that don't need it? Would it be wrong for them?
It's their choice, but there's
What do
one
you mean
thing.
it's their choice? What about the choice of the animal not to get murdered to death?
I mean, it can't articulate itself,
And neither can a mentally challenged human. They
but
can't articulate anything. Like, is it okay to kill them now for food?
it's not an argument though, because we're not talking about humans. We're talking about animals.
No, that's the morally that's the character trait that you mentioned. So I'm saying that I'm asking why did you mention that if some humans are in that situation as well?
Well, because all animals object to dying, but that's not what nature is. Nature is death as well as life.
Yeah, and that's why I would say who cares about nature? Like, let's just stop abusing
No,
animals needlessly
no,
and causing unnecessary suffering.
but from the way I see things, nature is the only way to live healthily as it
The
stands.
only way to live health. I don't even actually think it's the true. That's even true. Like I'm not the person to discuss things to discuss this with. I don't really have a background in biology, but I have I understand that there are some cases where evolution actually has set evolution is set out to kill us in other way. Like so, we have acquired certain things that are actually bad for us.
Mhm.
Like I'm not the person to have this discussion with, but I'm pretty sure even you agreed with me that nature is not necessarily a good thing. Like evolution is a blind process. Like it just means like survival of the fetus pretty much. Like, it isn't something really to take any moral advice from, right?
Why?
What do you mean why?
Well, if it if it tells you how to survive,
No, my
what?
argument is that it doesn't it it doesn't necessarily tell you how to survive. Sometimes nature is actually out to kill you, and evolution is actually makes us evolve in ways that are not optimal for us. I would say the opposite thing.
You're living on Earth. You're not going to leave Earth anytime soon, right? Like you have to play by the rules on Earth to
Okay.
some degree. To some degree, you don't have a choice. And then all the plants that you eat, you don't really have a choice of like your ideal plant. You just have these plants that are given to you by the Earth, right? Like same with the animals. Yeah,
No, I disagree with that. Like, not by the earth. I'm a like a subjectivist about this. I think people with brains and central nervous systems and like the capacity for subjective experience, we're the ones that create any meaning. Like, I don't think nature creates any meaning for us.
Mm.
Yeah, we've gotten away from the point. Like, man, like what would you? Why the hell Holocaust animals if we can survive without it, man?
Because this is the point. People can't. People need animal products to survive. What about breast milk? Breast milk is an animal product.
Yeah, and it's vegan, right?
Well, yeah, I mean it's vegan, but
By the definition of veganism, it's vegan. If we were to take women and do the same thing we're doing to cows, like raping them, taking the children away from them,
yeah, it would be
milking
wrong.
them to death, like it would be wrong, right?
It would be wrong, but it would also be unnecessary and not optimal.
Exactly. The same argument that I would say, the same thing that I would say back to you. It is
Sure. And,
it is completely
hold on.
unnecessary what we're doing to animals, and the burden
Okay,
of proof is on you
fine,
that it is.
fine. But let's say I have a farm, and let's say I have a few cows, and there is some spare milk. I don't harm the animal, and the animal's okay with me taking the milk. Why is there anything wrong with that?
The animal is okay. Oh, okay. Why do cows milk?
The same reason humans milk.
Exactly. So what happened to the calf?
What do you mean?
Like in the, for example, in the dairy industry, they forcibly impregnate these cows and they take the children
Yeah,
away
but
from the cows for it to be able to.
that's
What are
not
you talking about?
that's not the example I gave. I gave an example of me on a farm.
You're saying if you were actually to go out to a cow and start sucking her titties or something, or what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm saying that if I owned a cow and I milked it, not with my mouth, what's wrong with that?
Okay, so I think it's wrong to just breed those animals. Like, for example, I see it as exploitation to breed animals. Like, where did you get that cow from?
What do you mean?
Yeah, like where did
I'm
there? I'm asking that question. Where did you get the cow from?
cow lives on the same earth that I live on. It's a part
Where
of it.
did you get it? Did you steal it from the street or something from the wild? Like, what are you talking about?
It belongs to me as much as I belong to it.
Okay, where did you buy these cows from some place? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about animals that exist in nature on Earth.
And I'm asking you, where did you get this cow? Like that really matters.
What do you mean?
Like I'm saying that if you bought this cow from, like, for example, like the dairy industry or something, you would be financing that industry. Well, where did you get this cow from? That's the first thing that I would ask to determine whether it's ethical or not, whatever you're doing.
Oh, well, I would make sure that the cow is where it's meant to be, eating what it's meant to eat, you know?
Okay, but where did you get this cow from? Like, did you rescue it from the dairy industry? Like
A
I'm
farmer,
just
a farmer, a farmer had it.
you bought it from a farmer.
Yeah.
Like what kind of farmer? Is it like a dairy farmer? Then I would say it's wrong to buy the cow because you're financing the industry or something. Like I just need to know the specifics.
But my point is that there is an ethical way to get milk. That you don't have to separate the calf from the cow. You don't have to forcibly impregnate it. You don't have to use machines to milk it. You don't have to do any of those horrible things, and you don't have to let the calf starve. You know, you
Okay,
can get.
so but that's not the situation you're in. Like are you just asking hypothetically what do I think?
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying like if that's possible, why can I not do that?
Okay, let's just say for the sake of argument, there's no rights violation here, right? Like you're not exploiting that cow, you're not killing it when it stops producing milk. You
Yeah,
didn't kill the male offspring, and
let's
you're not
let's even let's even say that the cow comes to me to get milked because it wants it to get milked.
like
What?
in that situation. That's just a really weird hypothetical where I would say that I wouldn't drink the milk for aesthetic reasons only. I just think it's just gross to have the secretions of another animal in my body, but I wouldn't see an ethical issue with that. But I that's not the situation we're in. I'm just gonna like I would just say it's a false analogy.
Why?
But
How is that false?
it is a false analogy because that's not what you're doing to get your milk, right?
Yeah, I am.
The cow is coming to you to get milked.
No, like I go to a farm. Who gets the milk? I order the farm on the internet. Order the milk on the internet from a farm.
Okay, and that's where I would say that I need to know the specifics of the situation, and that would be what I mean. That it's a false analogy because that I don't know how that farm operates. Like you would have to show me what they do with their cows. Do they, like for example, I see it as exploitation in the first place to just breed these cows in the first place. Like I see it as exploitative to
The cows.
just use animals as objects for financial incentive. I that in itself I think it's wrong.
It's not
And
that,
then
though, is it? Because
what?
it's not that, though, is it? Because that's not what it is. Like you have to look at history and the context.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Like we don't need to do that anymore. Like we have other options. Why the hell are we gonna breed sentient beings? What, like let's just name the trait, man. Just name the trait. Would you say it's wrong to do that to women, to human women?
Yes.
It is wrong to do exactly the same thing you were talking about, ordering milk
Oh,
from an online human milk farm. Why is it that wrong?
because they're humans, not cows.
Okay, then what's the difference that justifies the difference in treatment?
I mean, they're not. One's an animal, and one does the farming, and one gets farmed. Yeah.
Okay, let's like humans are animals, right?
Yes and no.
Okay, so what's the difference?
It's obvious.
No, I'm asking you. I don't see the morally significant difference there.
I mean, let's say there was a calf without a mother. You just found a calf without a mother, and you raised it at
No,
home.
no, but I answered your question. But
Oh,
you're now avoiding my question.
sorry, go on. Ask your question.
No, no, I was just asking that why would you say it's wrong to order milk from a human, like a human milk farm online?
Because it's human.
Okay, so you're saying the difference that justifies the difference in treatment is just humanity? It's just that one's human and the other is not?
Yeah.
Okay, define human.
Me.
Define human. What do you mean by human?
Why? You know what a human is. I know what a human is. So,
I don't know what you mean when you say human. I know what I mean when I say human. Like, what do you mean?
the same as you.
Okay, what I mean by human is Homo sapiens, so genetically a human, having human DNA.
Sure.
Okay, so let's say you're ordering from a farm online, from another species of Homo that aren't don't have human DNA. Is it okay then?
No, because it's not a cow.
Okay, no, because it's not a cow.
Mm-hmm.
What? So it would be okay with it is okay to only milk cows? What?
No, it's okay to milk herbivorous animals.
Herbivorous animals.
Yeah, herbivores. It's okay to milk. As long as they're in their natural environment, it's okay to milk them.
This is just really weird because I'm asking you what's the morally significant difference. Why is it wrong to milk somebody like it's exactly like a human but without human DNA? And you're essentially saying because she's not a cow, so you don't see anything wrong other than she not being a cow.
Yeah, because in our particular context, we have cows. We don't have your example.
Okay, let's say that this species of humanoid was herbivorous. Would it be okay then?
No, because that's not the reality we're in.
That's not the question. You're avoiding the hypothetical. Would it be okay if that species of humanoid was herbivorous? Is it okay to buy milk from them online? Like I didn't avoid your hypothetical, man. Like I answered you. You said what would be your answer if a cow came to me? I would say that it would be morally acceptable in that hypothetical, but would it be aesthetically acceptable to me? Like why are you not answering my hypotheticals?
I said no, it would be wrong.
But you said it was wrong because they're not herbivores. What's the difference now? I said they were herbivores in the hypothetical.
No, the specific herbivorous animals that we farm for milk is directly related to our context here on Earth.
Okay, man, and like that's just really weird. Like you're saying
Why?
that the only reason that it would be wrong to holocaust humans for milk is because they're not cows. That's a really weird reason. Like, don't you agree that's a weird reason to find something morally wrong?
No, it's just not part of our reality. That question has no grounding on the situation.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm just
It does.
asking these hypotheticals to see what is it that you value, and it seems to me now that you literally are saying that milking humans is wrong because they're not cows. That's your reason.
My values aren't really important here. We're talking about like what's right and wrong.
They are. They are exactly. What's right and wrong according to your values. That's what I care about.
Well,
Like I don't think morality is objective or something like that. This whole
yeah,
discussion has been
morality
around
is objective. It's partially objective.
this whole discussion. It has been around finding inconsistencies in your moral views, and like what's your argument that morality is objective? Like this is a whole other topic now.
Survival, nature.
That's just descriptive. That's just a descriptive statement that we need to survive. We are in nature. How does it follow from that? That's just an is-ought crossing fallacy there. Like, how do you get from there that we should do certain things just because we are surviving, we are in nature? How do you jump from there to we should do this, we should do that?
So if we don't, we get cancer.
And like having cancer, like what, like how do you get from having cancer to it's wrong to induce cancer?
No, it's in our way of life brings about our own illnesses. You know,
Okay, dude. So what's your point? Why did you bring this cow scenario?
because vegans argue that you can't have milk from any animal.
Yeah, vegans argue that it is wrong to exploit animals and to harm them needlessly.
My argument is you don't need to exploit them or harm them to get milk.
But that's what we do, right?
That's what happens, but that's not what everyone does.
Okay, and that's why veganism is a stance against that cruelty. And what vegans do is they don't support that industry. We think it's wrong to
Sure,
exploit animals, and even if hypothetically, let's say they're all happy cows, just breeding these animals into existence for to sell their milk, I would see that as wrong. Even if they're all like
you would
happy
rather have
cows.
less cows.
What?
You would rather have less cows on the earth.
Of course, just as I would rather have less slaves in the world. less human slaves. I see it exploitation wrong, no matter if it's in the human context or in the animal context.
It doesn't have to be exploitation.
But it is, like, according to my definition, it is exploitation. To just bring animals into existence for, and pretty much treat them as objects for a financial incentive. That's the definition of exploitation. Would it be exploitation in a human context? Just answer me that.
Yeah, obviously, because it's human. Because there's a difference.
Okay, and what's the difference?
The fact that they're two different things.
So it wouldn't be wrong to bring cows into the world to make money out of them, but it would be wrong to bring humans into the world to make money out of them. What's the difference? Why is one okay and the other isn't?
Cows are already in the world. If we don't bring them into the world, they're already in the world.
Do you know how we have 7 billion land animals in the world? I'm sorry, as 80 billion. Like I said, 7. There are 7 billion humans. I'm sorry, like 80 billion land animals in the world. The only reason those high numbers is because we breed them. We artificially select them when we forcibly impregnate them to bring them into the world, and we use hatcheries for birds, and we forcibly impregnate cows and the other animals that we exploit, if not only for food but for fashion and shit like
all
that.
that stuff is not ideal, but it doesn't make meat eating wrong inherently.
Okay. Why do you support it if it's not ideal?
I don't support that. I don't support.
What don't you support?
I don't support manslaughter.
Okay, let's just get that out of the way. Let's find common ground, because like the debate is just really aimless right now. So let's just find common ground. You agree with me that it's wrong to mass breed and mass murder animals?
Yeah. Anything.
Like in the way that they're doing it in factory farms, for example.
Anything, even plants.
Why is it wrong with plants?
Because the process itself is wrong. It's not optimal.
The process itself is wrong. What if that process feeds more humans? Why is it wrong?
It's not in balance.
Do you see a morally significant difference between eating a plant and eating an animal? Like biting an apple and like biting the head of a fucking chicken off or something?
I don't know. It's a difficult one. I've thought about it a lot.
So you don't know?
I don't know whether you can say, because on one hand you can say there's no moral difference between killing an ant and killing a cow, but then on the other hand,
You can definitely say there is.
Well, yeah, you can. There's loads of different arguments there.
Yeah, it just depends what is it that you value. If you value something like sentience, if you value something like a capacity for well-being or something, obviously it's worse to kill a cow than to kill an ant, if that's what you value.
But wouldn't that dead cow feed a lot of ants?
What?
Wouldn't that dead cow feed a lot of ants?
Wouldn't the cow feed a lot of ants?
Yeah, the dead cow.
I don't particularly care about that. I don't think those ants equal the cow. I still think the cow has a higher value. Is how I think there's a hierarchy of value, and I do think humans have higher value. I'm not like all vegans in this case, because I do see a moral distinction. Is because we have a higher capacity to experience well-being. We have higher sentience, so I do think we have higher value, but or at least like some humans, not all. There's a difference, but I don't think that some animals have less sentience and have less capacity to experience well-being. I don't see that as a justification for harming them needlessly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think so either.
And you agree with me then that factory farms are wrong, Like, I disagree with you that like mass agriculture is wrong, but let's just stay in the veganism topic here. And okay, so you agree with me that factory farms are wrong. What else? Where do you draw the line? What's okay to do?
Certain animal testing is wrong.
I agree with you there.
I mean, it's just basic, like, every animal should be in its natural environment, and if we farm it, we should farm it to the degree that we abide by its well-being as much as possible. And I think that's possible. I think that's something we could do.
Yeah, but that's not what you are supporting, right?
Yeah, it is. Why? What?
Like with your money, like what kind of animal products do you consume? Do they come from farms like that?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
there's
and what would be your criteria for establishing if it's okay? Like how does this farms look? How do this farm looks like?
I mean, they're not crowded, right? Every animal's eating what's meant to eat. They don't use vaccinations or chemicals or pesticides or anything.
Okay, and it is okay to kill them even if we don't need to if they're in that situation.
Well, I mean, the point is that we need them for food.
Okay, but I thought you agreed with me that if you didn't need to, you would think it is wrong, right? You said it is morally superior if you were to find out that we didn't need to, right?
I mean, it's not that's like you said, that's your subjective take on it, right? Your subjective morality. There is no objective morality.
I wouldn't say that's subjective. I would say that's an empirical an empirical claim that I'm making, that it is because of the evidence that I've come across. So okay, so let's just stick with the farm thing that you brought up. So it would be okay if it's not crowded. They don't use vaccines. They don't. What else?
They don't abuse them,
They don't abuse them. You wouldn't consider murder abuse?
If you're gonna eat it, then it's not murder.
So it is not murder. What makes something okay? So it wouldn't be murder to in a human context either. If you're gonna eat the corpse.
You need it to survive, I guess, but it'd still probably be murder because it's a human.
Okay, let's say you don't need it to survive. Like in the animal case, you don't need the animals to survive. Would it be murder in that case?
Yeah, I guess it would.
Okay, I just don't see why you're making that moral distinction there. You would say it's wrong for humans. Like I still don't understand your trait difference. Like let's say they don't have human DNA. They're just another species of humanoid. Would it be okay in that sense? In that case?
That's not real. That's not a real example.
It doesn't matter. Like I'm just getting to the bottom of what is it that you value to find inconsistencies in your moral system.
There is no inconsistencies. I value humans more than animals.
Okay, and the inconsistency is that okay, maybe you don't have inconsistencies. That's what I'm trying to find out by asking these hypotheticals. So what if they're not human? By your definition, they don't have human DNA. Would it be okay in that case?
I guess so, yeah.
Wait, so it would be okay to keep a certain like species of humanoid in the same conditions that you're buying your meat from and killing them at the end for food. You would actually bite the bullet on that being morally acceptable if they don't have human DNA.
If that was the context of the reality around me, yeah, that would
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Okay, so they're exactly the same as us in every other way except the genome. So there, in what I mean exactly the same is the 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 phenotype, right? So the characteristics like sapiens, their level of intelligence, they have the ability to produce culture and art and stuff like that. They're just a different DNA. They're another species of Homo or something, right? Would it still be okay in that case?
No, because they're self-aware.
What?
They're self-aware.
Okay, then you're completely changing the the trait difference that you value here. You first said humanity, but now you're saying that what you value is self-awareness.
It's linked, isn't it?
What?
Self-awareness and humanity are linked, right? That's what makes us human.
Not necessarily. How do you define self-awareness? Like animals are self-aware. They have to be aware of themselves to survive, right? They have to be aware
Society,
of themselves and to distinguish themselves from their surroundings and stuff. To
yeah,
like
but
certain animals,
they can't
like
distinguish themselves from themselves, right? Like we can.
certain animals do pass the mirror test, which is used to establish the existence of self-awareness, right? So do you agree that certain animals pass the mirror test?
Yeah, but
What do you mean by self-awareness?
just the ability to consider things.
The ability to consider things. So
Yeah,
animals can't consider things.
not really. They just run on programs, you know?
Run on programs. What about mentally disabled people? Can they consider things? What?
You're talking about like broken humans, so I don't know.
Okay, so let's say we were farming mentally disabled humanoids from another species. Would it be okay in that case?
Yeah, sure. Fuck it.
So you're gonna just bite the bullet on that? Are you just tired?
Yeah. If that's what it means to survive, if there's nothing else to eat.
No. Like again, like I don't think that's what you need to survive. Like you're claiming that you need that to survive. I don't believe that you do, and I don't think you really have any evidence that you do either.
I just think there's so many examples around the world of people that eat meat to survive and would die without it. We
Of
can't.
course, if people are surviving in nature, of course, but do you need it as a matter of fact? Do you need it to survive, even if you had other options to get your nutrients from?
Yeah, because you're telling me that I don't have a choice. You're telling me that I don't have a choice if I want to go and live in nature. I can't. That's what you're saying.
What do you mean I'm saying that they don't have a choice. The people that are out living in nature or in Asian in tribes or something.
And if I say that I want to go and live like those people live, you're saying that I don't have a choice, right?
I'm saying that it would be unethical. That's just my whole claim. So in the same way, like for example, let's say like you were living in civilization, but you decided to go out live in nature and survive of humans on the street, like just by eating humans, would that be unethical?
We're not talking about reality, dude.
Dude, like I'm just asking, would it be unethical? Because in the same way that would be unethical for you, it would be unethical for me to, like out of nowhere, like senselessly deciding to go out living nature where you could stay in civilization and live more compassionately. Why the hell would you decide to go out to nature and kill beings? Like if you didn't need to do that.
Well, this is where we disagree. It's like the opposite because I think it's ethical to go and do that. I think it's more ethical.
Okay, so we reach two fundamental value differences here. So that this is the point where I say, como que, like, this is the point where I say, if we do have values so different like this, then debate over pretty much. Because first of all, you bit the bullet in saying that it would be okay to farm mentally disabled humans for meat. Like if you thought you needed to survive, not only if you needed to survive, if you thought you needed to survive because you think you need animal products to survive, and I don't see you willing to try to even get a confirmation if whether you need or not, like your own epistemic standard. Your own epistemic standard would be trying it yourself. You could easily try it yourself. If it worked, then it would make it immediately make it immoral, whatever you're doing. So that's the first fundamental value difference, that you would say it's okay to farm mentally disabled humanoids from other species. And the second fundamental value difference is that you see it being morally better to live in a state of nature, even if we had the choice to live in civilization. So that's the two.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, but on the second one, I'd agree. But with the first, I'd say that my memory's really bad. Wait, what did you say?
The first one, you mean that it would be okay to farm mentally disabled humanoids? You agreed. You bit the bullet on that one.
No,
And the claim wasn't that you needed to survive. The claim was that you weren't sure. Like the same way you are not sure about if you can be healthy on a vegan diet. You're in the same exact position.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I am sure, because what you're basically saying is you wouldn't go to people who didn't have a choice with a choice, but you'd come like let's say that I use the internet and I live in Western civilization, but I don't know any better than living on a farm, right? And you come up to me and you say, "Hey, you don't need to do that. Here's all these alternatives." What's the difference between you doing that to me and doing that to someone who doesn't have a choice, like a tribe person? There is no difference.
Not necessarily. I just think those people have a choice. They can just change jobs or something, dude. Can they?
Yeah, but like, for you to go up to someone and pose that option to them is, it doesn't. It's hypocritical if you do that to one person but not another.
I don't just don't know what you mean. I just see what you're saying as something like going up to somebody that works as a Nazi concentration camp guard or something, and saying to him that's wrong, that he should change his job or something like that. How is that hypocritical for me to say that he should do something else with his life?
Because you wouldn't go up to a tribal person and say, "Oh, well, you should do something different with your life."
I mean, if they had the choice, like if they had the choice to move or something, like sure, it would be a good thing to try to convince them to get the hell out of there and to join civilization or something. Like if they don't have the choice, I can't do anything about it. But if they do have the choice, the ethically better option would be for them to join civilization.
I guess it would depend on what makes them have a choice or not. What makes me have a choice or not.
Exactly, and I think you do have a choice.
So then everyone should have a choice, right?
What do you mean?
Well, if I have a choice, then everyone should have a choice.
No, I'm just saying if you have a choice to make more compassionate decisions, then it would be a moral obligation to do so. Don't you accept this?
But in order to make that choice, I have to sacrifice something.
What do you have to sacrifice?
I have to put my faith in scientists and nutritionists.
You are against science?
No, I just said that I have to put my faith in those people.
But you said that it doesn't even matter what those people say. It comes down to personal experience, right?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying hypothetically, if I'm gonna go with you on this, then I have to have faith in what you're saying.
Okay, and if you, what do you mean, like put faith? Like I thought that your epistemically what you care about is your own personal experience. So I'm just saying,
Well, yeah,
like,
but
if you haven't tried it, how do you know that you can be healthy and be vegan?
that's not the point. The point is that I've gone from surviving on animals that are farmed by me, and I'm going to start surviving on this food given to me by companies, from people that I haven't met, from, like supplements, for example.
Yeah, that would be the ethical option. In the same way, like this applies in a human context as well. In the same way, it would be better ethically to whatever you said about putting faith in science and nutritionists and go live in civilization, and abandoning your work in a human farm of slaves and stuff. In that same way.
It's not ideal.
What?
I said it's not ideal. That's not ideal for me. I don't want to take pills. Even if
Okay, so you animals have so little value that you would rather kill them than take a pill.
Yeah.
And you said the same thing about humans, right? About humanoids, mentally disabled people. Like if
Yeah.
you would rather eat them
Yeah, fuck 'em.
and do you agree with that?
Yeah, sure.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
And what's your reason? What's your fear of pills? Like, what's wrong with like the same chemical that you're gonna get from an animal source? What the hell is the problem with getting it in a pill form? If the same chemical that, by the way, is bacterial in origin, it's not if not of animal origin. So what the hell is the difference between those two?
There is a difference.
Okay, so you're claiming it is a difference. There is a difference.
There is a
If
difference.
there is not a difference, would you say it would be morally obligatory to go vegan if there's not a difference, and if
Well, I
you
mean,
were proven that fact?
yeah, if I didn't need to consume anything to live, yeah, that would be great.
What do you mean if you didn't need to consume anything to live?
Well, if we're just playing the if game,
Okay, what do you mean?
well, I could just say that if I could just survive on sunlight, that would be great. But that's not the way it is.
It is the way it is. Yeah, you're saying that those pills aren't the same, that they are the same. They're exactly the same chemical compound. What the hell are you talking about?
But the only way for anyone to prove that is to take them.
What do you mean the only way to prove that is to take them? Like, you can look at them in a microscope or something. What the hell do you mean?
Well, even if they look the same, the only way to prove that they are the same is to notice the effect on the body. Surely. You're not just going to put faith in the fact that it looks the same, are you?
Compounds. Like, if you can manufacture some of them in the laboratory, what the hell is the difference there? The only difference is the source.
Yeah, exactly. But what if that source has an effect on how that chemical affects the body?
Okay, and you're just putting your faith in that you think that
No, I'm
eating
just not
animals.
taking the risk. I'm just not taking the risk, right? Like, it's not about faith. I'm just
Okay,
not.
so you would rather keep abusing animals than taking what risk? Like, what do you think is gonna happen to you? That so many people go vegan every year. There's so much evidence backing up that the plant-based diets are nutritionally adequate. What kind of risk do you think you're taking? You think you're just gonna drop dead by trying a vegan diet for 22 days?
I just think it's just going to cause me unnecessary suffering.
What suffering?
I just think it'll probably cause me to be without
Okay, dude.
energy.
So you already said that the only kind of proof that you needed is to try it yourself, and you're saying that you're not willing to try a diet for 22 days if
Of
it meant
pills.
that you would actually stop participating in a Holocaust and live more compassionately.
If it means
And
I have to take pills, then yeah, I wouldn't.
okay, and you just have like you're anti-modern medicine or something as well, anti-civilization and anti-modern medicine.
Not necessarily civilization, but I'm anti-pills.
You have never taken a pill even for an ailment or something?
I've taken them when I was younger, but I don't take pills now. Mhm.
Okay, so your whole case rests in you're afraid of pills though, therefore it's okay to kill animals.
No, I just think there's a lot more to the situation that people just don't look at. You can't just fix everything with chemicals.
There isn't, man. There isn't. Like I can just tell you that this is all in your head, man. Like the evidence is out there. You can look it up by yourself. Like there's the declaration that I sent you. That's the biggest organization of experts on nutrition in the planet. You think they're all lying? This whole conspiracy or something. I don't know if you believe in like big pharma. Big pharma is out to get us or something. Like nobody's gonna convince you. What?
Those are just businesses. They just run on money models. That's all.
Exactly. You're not gonna trust anybody. So the only way that you can know for sure is for you to try it yourself for 22 days, and you're not willing to make that small sacrifice if it meant saving the lives of animals. You really just don't care about animals at all.
I have taken supplements before, but either way, it's not the point. I don't want to take pills.
Are you an athlete?
No,
Like you go to the gym or something, you take protein supplements or something?
no.
Okay, so I just see that this as like a big excuse, man. Like I just wonder why do you hate animals so much that you literally can sacrifice 22 days to see if you feel okay in this diet? Like what is it?
I want to take pills.
What have animals done to you that you see them with such little value like that?
I just don't trust pills.
You don't trust pills. What do you think they're gonna do to you? They're developed by scientists, and they're exactly the same chemical compound as the thing that you're already putting in your body.
Yeah, but you don't know.
Okay, like you don't know. Do you know that whatever you're taking is okay? How do you trust that the thing you're eating is okay for you?
It makes sense and it feels good. It feels healthy.
Okay, it makes sense and it feels good. What if it felt good to be in a plant-based diet? Then you would be in a plant-based diet.
It doesn't. I've tried it.
You tried a shitty raw vegan diet, unhealthy as fuck, without taking supplements. That isn't what I'm talking about.
But I notice the effects on myself when I eat different things, right?
Okay, man. So I'm just asking, like, why do you hate animals that you won't sacrifice 22 days of your life to see if you can thrive on a plant-based diet?
Because I know that I can't. I know that
You
I
know
won't.
that you can't. You know that
Yeah.
you can't because you haven't tried it. You said that the only epistemic criteria that you would trust is your own personal experience. So you would never know. You would die without knowing unless you try it. You don't trust scientific authorities. You don't trust like nutritional experts. So the only way between you now and you being vegan is you trying it. So what are you so afraid of?
I
Here?
just don't. I don't want to take that stuff. I feel like I should have to eat certain things because I feel bad about it. don't think it works that way. It's
Okay,
not
so at the end of the day, the animals have so little value that even if it means taking a pill to save, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of animals throughout your whole life, like maybe thousands, you would still think that they have that little value, even if
yeah,
it meant
because
taking a pill.
the problem isn't me or the animal. The problem is the pill.
You're afraid of the pill. Like you don't even know if that pill. Like I take that pill every day. Like countless other vegans take the pill. Like you can
Yeah.
look up studies. Like you said that you would never trust like actual science if you were to look this up and find out that it's exactly the same chemical compound. It doesn't have any negative health effects. Like
Yeah, but
nothing that you read, even peer-reviewed studies would change your mind, right?
the only thing that would definitely change my mind would be taking the
Exactly. So you won't take it, even if it means being more ethical and saving the lives of sentient beings like you
yeah,
that
even if
want
it
to live just
even if
like
it
you.
does mean that, even if it does mean that, you're telling me to put faith in these pills. That's what you're telling me to do.
I mean, man, you put faith in things every day, man. Like I'm sure you do dangerous things. Like, do you drive and stuff?
Yeah, I have faith
Like,
in myself.
you put faith in yourself that you're not gonna kill yourself driving, or you put faith in other humans. They're drunk drivers not gonna kill you or something. So we put faith in things all the time. So what the hell is wrong with putting faith in science and modern medicine for
Well,
once if it means saving the lives of countless animals?
there's a difference between driving down the road and taking a pill, right?
What?
There's a difference between driving down the road and taking a pill.
Like yeah, one is worse. You can kill yourself driving down the road, right?
Yeah, but it's not, you take that risk because that's what you agree to, right? But I don't agree to taking the risk of putting a pill inside me. So,
Okay, so you would rather take a worst risk, like driving, where you could kill yourself, or a drunk driver can kill you.
well, I
You
don't
you
know. I don't know the risk of a pill. This is the thing. I
do,
don't.
do you live in like a building? You live in buildings, right? Do you put your faith in engineers that they constructed the building just the right way? You won't it won't fall like and fall to pieces in an earthquake or something. Like you put faith in people all the time. What's different here?
So far, yeah, so far, but it's not ideal.
Yeah, so I just think she's over, man. Like
Yeah,
if yeah, like I just feel sorry, man, that people like that exist that really like wouldn't take a pill if it means saving the life of countless animals. That just seems horrible to me.
I just think I should have a choice.
What?
I just think I should have a choice.
You do have the choice.
Okay.
Do you disagree that you have that choice?
Yeah, I have the choice not to take it, right?
And you have the choice to take it, but you would rather murder to death countless animals than take that risk, right?
Do I have a choice?
Yeah, you can just take the pill.
But can I murder the animals instead?
Then you're an immoral piece of shit, man. That's the only thing I can say.
Okay, okay, well, if that sums up this discussion, then
Man, yeah, like that's just between you and your own conscience, man. Like you lost most people in this debate when you said you would bite the bullet in murdering disabled people if it mean like a little bit more optimal health or not taking a pill or some shit like that. You said you would rather live in nature where rape and the elements exist and carnivorous animals. You would rather do that than live in modern Western civilization. Like
I
you
said there was
lost
a
most
balance.
people there. The debate is over.
I said there was a balance, and I don't think you can really speak for most people.
I'm pretty sure most people would say it's wrong to kill disabled humanoid people, yeah, and I would say most people are in favor of civilization. Yeah, I think you're in the minority here. And the only reason I mention this, I'm not like trying to appeal to the majority or something. I'm just saying that morality needs to people need to agree on things like morality.
Yeah.
Because morality, at the end of the day, the purpose of morality is just obtaining pro-social benefits. And I think your morals are pretty bad, are pretty horrible. That you're actually prefer killing countless animals than taking a perfectly healthy pill that I take every day. A lot of vegans take every day. A lot of science and modern medicine has gone into producing this technology that once and for all liberate us from having to murder animals needlessly, and you're still saying no to that.
Yeah, that's not me. I'm not on that ship.
And I would say that you're in the ship that's destined to be called the wrong side of history, my buddy, my dude. I would say that there's a right side to history, there's a wrong side to history. There's moral progress. You would agree with that. There's has been moral progress across of history, and you're in the wrong side of it. Moral
I get that.
progress in this case. Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, like you agree, right? The human rights, rights for women, rights for homosexuals. Like we need, like, why shouldn't we extend this sort of moral consideration for animals as well? They're sentient beings that want to live like us. They don't need to die. So that you're literally just murdering them because you're afraid of a pill. I would say that's clearly the wrong side of history right there.
Guess we'll see, man. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Anyway, thank you for agreeing to have the debate. I have had a good time, man.
that's cool. No, it's cool.
Yeah,
It's
at
cool.
the end of the day, man, I really respect you. Like it takes guts to just come to have a debate. If you even it was gonna be recorded for YouTube. Like I really respect that. Like at the end of the day, even if we have bunch of disagreements, and I think your morality sucks. I think that you're pretty cool for agreeing to have a debate, and I think having discussions like this is definitely being in the right side of history this time, because I think freedom of speech and having conversations like this is the thing that drives moral progress in the first place. So yeah, dude, you're pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope we don't have a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I would agree there, man. Like would suck.
Yeah.
Like I would see that as living in nature. So I prefer civilization than just having to kill a bunch of zombies and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we found some common ground there at the end, at least.
Exactly.
Yeah, I played enough Last of Us and stuff like that too. I really hate zombies.
Play the multiplayer.
Dude, so what time is it over there?
6 in the morning.
Oh shit! You were awake the whole night or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. Like, hopefully you get some sleep. It's 1 a.m. here, so I'm gonna go like chill
No,
with my girlfriend, go to sleep.
I work in the nights. So.
Okay, you work night shifts or something?
Yeah.
What's your work?
Yeah, drive a forklift.
Okay, that's cool. I work at night too sometimes. I work in a psychiatric hospital, and I do night shifts every once in a while. It sucks, like messing up your sleep schedule like that, but a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, right?
Yeah.
It's work. Yeah, dude.
Oh, if I can give you one thing to post on the video for people to look at,
Yeah, sure thing, man.
just that name.
What's that?
I posted it in Discord.
Yeah, I saw it. Like, what's that name?
It's just a dude.
It's like an anti-vegan dude or something.
No, not necessarily. He's
What is he, like carnivore diet guy?
he calls it the primal diet.
Okay, sure, man. I would share your link. You anything else that you want me to share, like personal stuff, like social media or something? Or that's it.
No, that's cool. No, I don't have social media.
Okay, it's like have a great rest of the day.
All right, take care. Good job.
Take care. Bye bye.
See ya.